What the hell was that? Hey, what the hell? You freaking kidding me?
Thanks, Stephen A. It's only right that we start this episode with a little Stephen A. Finally, after about 6 months, I am happy to say, welcome to episode 12 of Aggressively Speaking. My name's Tony Dabrowski.
I'm Troy Frank, and this is the post-quarantine episode. Well, actually, still in quarantine.
Well, COVID is still a thing.
Yeah.
It is very much still a thing.
The post-mid-quarantine episode, if that's what you want to call it.
Troy's rocking the quarantine hair today.
Yeah, I've gone uncut since January.
Oh my God, even before
Yeah,
COVID.
Yeah, I was planning on getting my hair cut at the end of March, and
Oh no. Well, looks like I got no other choice but to grow it out, I guess.
I mean, I'm not
Go
going
a
to
full year. Screw it.
Full year?
He's going to look like Triple H. You know the wrestler Triple H is just like down here?
Go full like Daniel Norris.
Oh my God. We got a Tiger reference, not from me, from him within the first 2 minutes. How about that?
That's right. I've changed, everybody.
Oh boy. All right. So yeah, we've been off for the past 6 months. We should probably start this episode by addressing where we've been over the past 6 months.
I think everybody has an idea.
I mean, yeah. So our last episode was the Sunday, when everything, got shut down.
Do you recall the main story of that episode? Because I don't.
I think we talked about... No, we mentioned, like, what we're going to do without sports. Because we were like, everything's shut down. What are we about to do?
Oh, yeah. I think I probably mentioned, like, something like, oh, we'll be back in May or June.
Oh, yeah. We were planning to be back the next week, actually. But the week after is the week that we went to the stay-at-home order here in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, shout out to both of our parents. They're great parents. We both got crap for leaving the house that day. Like, as I was about to leave the house, one of my parents was like, "You're leaving when there's about to be a stay-at-home order?" I'm like...
You're going to be stuck at John's for 3 months.
I'm like, yeah, I should probably stay home. So I put it on a group chat that I won't be making it. And then Troy's like, yeah, my parents gave me shit for leaving too. So I'm like, hey, okay. Yeah. Well.
And then, we tried to do this before the NBA playoffs started, and things were still not looking up for either of us.
So here's what happened after we stopped recording. Around like middle of April, towards the end of April, right around the NFL draft, we were talking about when we might be able to come back.
Well, we did like that little mini podcast that you were doing mid-quarantine.
Yeah, so again, we were talking about like when we might be able to come back. We floated, quote unquote, the idea of doing like a virtual podcast, but the second we talked about it, like John completely shut it down because it just did not sound like a good idea.
Didn't sound fun
at all.
It didn't seem like it would go well or smooth whatsoever.
My house was loud. It was going to be really bad. Troy's dogs would jump on him in the
or
middle.
Be barking for no reason whatsoever into the microphone.
We would get peace and quiet. We'd be in the middle of a serious subject. All you hear is woof.
It'd be more like a screech from an unknown realm because my dog blew out her vocal cords when she was a kid, when she was a little puppy.
Oh,
so now
no.
It just sounds like somebody being murdered in the next room over.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah, so we floated, quote unquote, the idea of having like a virtual Aggressively Speaking podcast, but that got shut down quickly. So we're like, you know what? We'll figure it out when the time comes. There's nothing to talk about anyway. So in the meantime, I, as you mentioned, as a little side project, started the Tony D and Friends podcast, which was, it's a fun little side project. Obviously, I can't do it now because school got me doing work all the way up to here, So that's like a nice little summer project,
Yeah.
But it was good in the first few episodes. I got guys like Jeff Risden, who covers the Lions, and made a connection there, so that was pretty cool. But it got to a point where, as the months grew on, we both really wanted to get back to doing this podcast. So we met up in like July,
When
maybe
was that?
end of June.
I think it was the end of June.
We met up at like the end of June, and we were like, all right, we're going to get this going again in like the middle of July. I remember the date, July 14th. That was going to be our first episode back.
Yep.
We just forgot.
Oh, it wasn't that we forgot. I remember.
I forgot.
No, my parents were still uneasy about the whole thing. So
Well, if you didn't text me, I would have forgot. That's when I say we would have forgotten. July 14th came, and I'm like, oh, Troy just texted me. Oh, he's not going to be able to make it.
well, I wasn't.
I wasn't coming anyway. So we took like another month or so off, and then
Really focused on just the NBA playoffs, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're still doing your Twitter thing, so it's not like you were completely absent from everything. And
the first month that we got sports back, we were just like, we have to watch sports. We've been so lost, at least I was, throughout the past few months. So the minute sports came back, I was locked in. The NBA playoffs, I'm enjoying the bubble. We will talk about that later in this episode. Baseball, the second that came back, I was locked into that. We'll also talk about the Tigers here later. I was just really enjoying getting sports back. So that was me in August, just really enjoying sports, and you as well. So how we came back, we're recording this on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Like around 3 o'clock-ish, I'm like, I want to do the pod. So I text our group chat, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. When we starting? John's like, you're speaking my language. Let's go. Troy's like, I'm ready. Let's go. And now here we are a few hours later. So it's good to be back, Troy.
It's very good to be back.
John's now behind the camera.
Yeah, he's not over here anymore.
I don't have to look over Troy's head to see John.
See my straight face, no response.
Probably didn't hear a single thing you said.
He has no mic either.
Yeah, he has no microphone,
He probably
so
sounds like this.
no, even worse. Probably even worse because it's facing the exact. The microphones are facing the exact opposite. Yeah, just gotta like
both microphones. He's still like a very distance away.
yeah.
But anywho, it is very, very good to be back doing this podcast because our first 11 episodes were really successful. I had a lot of fun doing this. I know you two did as well. So it's great to be back. And it's so good to be back talking about the Detroit Lions.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. If you have no idea why I played that Stephen A. clip, that was why.
So yeah, let's just get right into it, unless there's something else you want to mention about quarantine. Actually, before we talk about the Lions, I do want to talk about your quarantine. What have you done over this past 6 months?
I've just been studying up. I have a topic that I plan for when things slow down. Hopefully not to the same extent as before.
Yeah, let's not shut down again, please.
But like when sports hit a lull, I have a topic that I basically researched almost all of quarantine, which is I'm gonna rate and review each major sports title in video games.
That's going to be actually a fun segment because
we have a lot to say on that, both of us.
There's a lot to talk about with that. That'll be fun for another day.
Yeah, I've been playing 2K, Madden, MLB, the show a lot. Even NHL to an extent. And I'm not a big hockey guy, but you know what? If there's a way to introduce yourself to the players and certain things going on around the league, playing a video game based on that isn't too bad of a start. So
Troy is now a big hockey guy. Is what he's trying to say.
I'm a bigger hockey guy than Tony.
Right. Who do you want the Ravens to take at number 4 next month?
Rossi.
There we go. There we go. What's his first name?
I have no clue. That's all I remember from our conversation.
Marco Rossi.
There we go.
That's
I knew it started
man.
with an M.
Marco Rossi. That's my guy.
Like Marquette.
What do you think of Lucas Raymond? Do you think that's a real prospect or I made him up?
Probably real.
He's a real prospect.
Okay.
Yeah, so for this episode of Aggressively Speaking, we are going to go into a deep dive of the NHL draft.
John, you can take over. You're probably going to do as good as I can do.
I don't know that.
What was that?
So I don't know about that.
Said I don't know about that.
All right, so yeah, let's get into the business of the day now that we're done with quarantine talk. The Lions. They're back. Really, really back.
Oh, they never left. It's the same team as last year.
The same team that we've always seen. The term "same old Lions." I think we kind of saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday was the exact reason why, at least I did not want Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia back this season in 2020. I mean, what we saw yesterday from that football team is the same thing that we've seen from the 2018 Patricia Lions and especially the 2019 Patricia Lions. Last year, the Lions, they always had a late lead and they would just poop the game away.
Yep.
And the excuse last year was, well, Stafford's hurt. We have a bunch of other injuries. We'll be fine next year, as in this year, 2020, because Stafford's healthy and we'll just be a better team overall. And all offseason long, I heard from people on Twitter and people in the national media too, on NFL Network and Fox Sports or whatever, that this was going to be a different year for the Lions. Stafford's back and healthy. We're more healthy as a collective unit. The quote toxic guys are out. More Patriot-esque culture fits are in. Patricia's going to be better in year 3 because he'll learn from his mistakes in years 1 and 2. And again, I just heard that this was going to be a different year for the Lions. But I never went on Twitter this offseason and said that I thought it was going to be a different year, because I never go in front of my audience and tell them a lie. If I would have said this is going to be a different year for the Lions, I would have been lying to them because I didn't believe that this was going to be a different year.
Well, I wouldn't say that it was a lie. I just think you are too smart to have that hot of a take. I mean, you've had some hot takes in the past. I'm not, let's not lie.
Okay.
But
I'm not the only person who thought Stanley Johnson would be good. Let's be fair here. I did not want to pay KCP, I swear.
I bet you and LeBron probably both agree on that.
Oh, no.
But I don't think that was a outright lie if you would have said it. I think that would just be
it would have
you,
been. I didn't believe that.
Sipping the Kool-Aid.
But see, I've always sipped the Lions Kool-Aid, and this year I didn't. I saw the Kool-Aid and said, I don't want this, and I threw it away.
You saw the Kool-Aid and said, there's no sugar in that. I'm not drinking it.
It's not part of the diet, bro. It's not part of the diet.
That's just blue water.
So, yeah, I mean, I never thought that this would be a different year because, again, I just never really had faith that Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn were the guys to lead this team where they want to go. And yesterday's game showed you exactly that. Yesterday's game was an exact replica of Week 1 against the Cardinals last year.
Oh, almost down to the number.
In Arizona, the Lions had a fourth quarter lead of 24-6. They blew that to a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach in their first respective games in the NFL. They tied with Arizona. Yesterday, 23-6 against a really, really bad Bears team. One of my good friends who lives in Chicago and is a diehard Bears fan, he texted me after the game yesterday. His exact words in the text were, and I quote, "LOL, y'all stink. We are so bad." And that bad had like 5 or 6 Ds at the end. Even Bear fans know their team is garbage, but the Lions are a different breed of garbage.
And the Lions even proved them right that their team is garbage for the first 3 quarters. That team was hot fire garbage.
Again, comparing yesterday's game to Week 1. Yesterday, 23-6, fourth quarter blown lead, except unlike Arizona last year, the Lions flat out lost yesterday to a team they should have beaten. Oops. That was Troy. That was not me. It scared me for a second. There's no excuses for yesterday's loss. None. If you want to use the injury excuse, that was BS last year, and it's BS yesterday. Even with the injuries to Kenny Golladay, Big V, and Jeff Okuda going into the game. The Lions are still favored by 2.5 points at home.
But
No
you
fans.
But you lost Desmond Trufant before the fourth quarter.
The same injury-riddled team that was up 23-6 was the same injury-riddled team that blew that lead. Yes, losing Trufant and Coleman didn't help, but it should be next man up.
Yeah.
Our depth is so bad that we got Daryl Roberts and
if you
Tracy
have,
McGrady out there at corner.
and if you have literally half the corners that you expected to have going into the game, why are you playing man coverage in the fourth quarter?
That's another thing. We'll talk about that in a second here. That's a good tie into how we're going to criticize Patricia's coaching in a second here. But you just can't use injuries as an excuse. Like, you should beat that Bears team. They are terrible. Man, the Lions dominated that game throughout the first three quarters. Going into the fourth quarter, 23-6, the offense is on fire. Mitch Trubisky is playing like hot garbage to the point where I was watching the game yesterday. I literally thought to myself, I wouldn't be shocked if they benched Trubisky for Nick Foles. Like, he was that bad yesterday.
I was actually thinking, why haven't they done it already? Like, I legit actually said that. I was on the phone with my buddy watching the game, and I was like, wait, why isn't Nick Foles in? I feel like he'd do better in this situation.
I was planning it in my head. I'm like, we're going to lose because Nick Foles is going to lead the comeback. As a joke, I said that. But Trubisky stayed in the game, led the comeback. The second that Trubisky got a little bit of confidence in himself after that touchdown drive to start the fourth quarter, it was over. Patricia made no adjustments. Corey Underland called a bad game because he's the defensive play caller now. Darrell Bevel called a bad game. The offense didn't score a point in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was just a complete collapse by a team that we were told was going to be different this year. How is that any different from what we saw last year? It wasn't any different. And if you want to point the finger at anybody for yesterday's loss, how do you not point at Matt Patricia? I mean, this is exactly why me and Troy and everyone else basically didn't want him back. He's not an NFL head coach. He didn't show you that in 2018. He didn't show you that last year. And so far, one game in 2020 where his job is on the line, he didn't show it against the Chicago Bears, a team that they should have beaten at home. They didn't do it.
Nope. And like I said before, it comes down to how he used the team that he was given to start that fourth quarter. You know, he didn't have all the guys that he had going into the week. You know, he didn't have Kenny Galladay. He didn't have Jeff Okuda. And by that fourth quarter, he didn't have Coleman or Trufant. That still does not mean you got to play the exact same plays you were planning on using if those guys were there.
You need to adjust. And Patricia did not adjust. I mean, he didn't adjust in the fourth quarter on defense. He decided to send out Matt Prater for that 55-yard field goal, if you remember, that he doinked off the post. Apparently,
I understand. Prater is damn near 100%.
Prater's a really good kicker.
From that distance, yeah.
But can't send him out there.
Yeah, if it's 40, it's 40 yards.
55 yards.
55 yards. That's, you're testing the limits. I mean, yes, like I said, he's like 90% from that range. But still, there's no reason to put them in that position to where if he does miss it, now they're damn near at the 50-yard mark.
If he made that, you wouldn't be talking about that. Very true. But you just have to...
If he made that, they would have still lost by one.
Anywho, you need to be smart in that situation. Jack Fox, he was really good in his first NFL game yesterday as the Lions punter. Really, really good.
I did miss Sam Martin a little bit.
Sam Martin,
he's a Pro Bowler. It's hard not to feel that loss. But
he's a punter. I really
no.
It's whatever.
I mean, there was a point where they had to take a delay of game in order to get the punter into the right position so he can coffin corner it. It's like Sam Martin could have done that with it.
Anywho, Jack Fox had a good game
Sam
yesterday. Oh my God. He's about to make a Sam Martin stand account on Twitter. Kicking with Sam. Punting with Sam. But yeah, Jack Fox really good yesterday. This is just me. I would have sent Jack Fox out there, who was red hot and pin the Bears in their own territory. And if Mitch Trubisky gets a 90-yard plus touchdown drive, you know what? Just give him a kiss on the ass because he deserves it if he does that. Okay? Like if Mitch Trubisky leads that drive, that's just like, all right, Trubisky's.
Which, I mean,
whatever.
I guess you could make the case, being that the Lions didn't make any adjustments and they were down 3 corners, that they possibly could have. And I mean, 90 yards without any of our main cornerbacks, that's possible. But still, like you said, that's still an accomplishment that, you'd really have to give them props for if they completed it, regardless of who we have out there on defense.
Patricia didn't make adjustments. I didn't like the Prater call. Darrell Bevel decided it was a nice idea to stop running the football in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, like I get you got to switch it up, but not to the extent where you completely forget that you have running backs.
The Lions had a run game yesterday.
Yeah.
For the first 3 quarters, they had a run game. Adrian Peterson, his Lions debut, was really, really good.
I had to rub my eyes and check to see what year it was. I thought it was 2010.
I'm pretty sure he had over 100 total yards. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had over 100 total yards in his Lions debut. He was really good. DeAndre Swift, who we'll talk about in a second here.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
no,
he was
did
contributing.
good.
He was contributing nicely. He had a touchdown in the first half as well. Carryon might be dead.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell he was. Was he was he the real one calling the plays for the offense? Because I didn't see him out there on the field.
Carryon might be in the grave. I was listening to the Villani show today on 97.1. I don't listen to 97.1, but Dave Burkett tweeted that he was going to be on there, and I'm like, oh, I have to listen to this. I want to see what the biggest beat writer has to say. He did mention that people within the organization are concerned that Carryon won't be the same as he was in his rookie year because of his knee injury.
What was he in his rookie year? I mean, he had a couple.
Well, he was averaging, I think, 5 yards a carry. He was good in his rookie year when he was healthy, but that's when I think he almost tore his ACL against Carolina, and that was really the start of the end for him. And now this year, we got concerned because we saw that big-ass knee brace on his knee. We're like, oh.
How many Kevin Joneses are we going to get at running back? Kevin Jones was really good until he got injured. Javid Best was really good until he got injured. Now this, it's a repeat. I don't know what the Lions are doing.
Carryon's knee exploded, and now he might not be the same. So, yeah, he didn't look good yesterday. But the Lions actually had a run game yesterday, though. And then the fourth quarter, when they really could have used a run game to take away the clock, they just started to pass the football. And it really cost them, especially at the point where Stafford threw that pick. Which leads me to my next point. Stafford, did he have a good game yesterday?
Yes.
He was a little rusty in the first half. I can't lie. He was rusty in the first half.
I feel like he pulled off enough in the third quarter to overcome what he did in that first half. I think he had a good game.
He started rusty. Third quarter, electric. Fourth quarter, he had some mistakes. The interception was on him. He threw into traffic. It got tipped, picked off. That was on him. The big sack on Stafford, that was on him. He probably should have thrown that away. I watched it. I was like, what are you doing? Like you need to be smart in that situation. Throw it away. So he wasn't perfect yesterday, but is he the reason to blame? Absolutely not, because he still led the Lions on what should have been the game-winning drive in the fourth quarter, the final drive of the game. That leads me to my next point. Is Swift to blame for that game? No. Because the Lions should not have even been in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, people were so angry at DeAndre Swift yesterday, and it's like, you're mad at a rookie for making a rookie mistake. It was
in his very first game, mind you.
It was a bad rookie mistake. A veteran catches that ball. But he's a rookie. Like, you're going to blame him for that when they shouldn't have even been in that situation to begin with. Like, look at the coach who couldn't make adjustments on defense. Look at the OC who decided it's a good idea to stop running the football. Look at the DC who, I don't even want to talk about what we saw on defense yesterday.
Tony, you don't understand. Patricia's responsible for one of the best defensive play calls in NFL history in the fourth quarter.
That was absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe those words came out of his mouth. This man has the audacity, after his team blew a 23-6 fourth quarter lead to the Bears at home, he has the audacity when Michael Rothstein asked a legitimate question, another fourth quarter debacle, basically. Like, is it coaching? What happened? Oh yeah, I don't think it's that. I have the best defensive play call in NFL history.
The fact that he said that is utterly pathetic, and it just and he has now filed himself as just another Lions coach, because I feel like every single Lions coach has had that moment under each of their tenures in the past of just saying the absolute worst thing you could possibly say to a simple question.
Answer this question for me, Troy. That Super Bowl was how many years ago?
4, 5?
It was 5 years ago. It was against Seattle in like 2014, 2015. Who was the head coach for the Patriots? Was it Patricia?
No, I believe it was Belichick.
Oh, it was Uncle Bill. That wasn't Patricia's call. It was Uncle Bill. Also answer this question for me, Troy. Who was the offensive coordinator for Seattle who decided not to give the ball to Marshawn Lynch on that play?
Oh, I know his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. I think it's Darrell Bevell.
And what's Darrell Bevell doing now?
Oh, that's right. He's giving plays to Stafford on the offense.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and guess who made that play in the Super Bowl?
Who read that it was going to be a pass, like a little slant? Who made that play?
I think it was Butler.
Was it? I thought it was Patricia.
Oh.
No. He wasn't on the field.
No.
How does he... How, man? I literally tweeted it when I found out that that's what he was talking about. Patricia's out here flexing about the Malcolm Butler pick that happened years ago after they just blew a 23-6 home lead against the Bears and they lost.
Speaking of post-game interviews, did you hear what Trubisky said about the Lions?
Would you want to be my guest since you already kind of hinted at it earlier?
Ooh, he said something along the lines of, they do what they do in the fourth quarter, and we knew what they were doing. And it's like he said they're very predictable.
There you go. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure he used the word
that,
predictable.
that was, but my favorite part of that, he goes, they do what they do. In the fourth quarter, they do what they do.
When Mitch Trubisky is out here making fun of you, you got serious problems.
Yep.
Patricia, how many wins does Patricia have against Mitch Trubisky, Troy?
As many as I do, which is 0.
Oh my God. How many wins does Patricia have week 1 as the Lions head coach?
As many as I do, which is 0.
Oh my God. Like, it just...
Do you know how many fourth quarter leads he's blown in his tenure here?
Isn't it like 15?
It's 11 of 33 out of 33 games.
God.
1 out of every 3 games he blows a fourth quarter lead.
That's absolutely ridiculous. And people think that he's the right guy for the job. I just don't... Again, I tweeted this yesterday after the game. I just don't know how you don't blame Patricia after that game. Like I said in kind of our original argument here, you got some people blaming Stafford, some people blaming Swift, some people blaming the injuries. Why is not that many people looking at Patricia?
They want him to stay. That's the simple question. People are such slappies around here. They want him to stay, and they're willing to blame whoever they gotta blame in order for it to not fall back on him, because they're trying to, make sure that tweet from 6 months ago stays accurate.
To argue off that point, I saw a tweet from someone yesterday. I don't remember who, but someone was like, "You guys do realize that firing coaches and GMs every 2 and 3 years isn't going to work, right?" That's true. But when you can't make the right hire consistently, that's also not going to help you at all.
Yeah.
Like the Lions can't get it right, man.
Yeah, it's like, I understand that, having a new system every 3 years isn't good. But you know what else isn't good? Having a pretty trash system in there for 6 years. It doesn't help.
You
got to find a good system and then stick with it.
I just don't understand how people still make excuses for Patricia. He's won 9 games in now 3 years. 9, 23, and 1, Troy.
I could probably do better than that. I mean, I don't know any specific play calls and anything like that, but I could probably just tell you, Stafford, do whatever you got to do.
Would you run the football in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
There.
That's how you burn clock. I don't understand. I mean, yes, I understand passing every once in a while to throw off the defense so that you can run effectively, but don't pass and then pass and then pass. You pass, run, and then maybe get a first down, then run, pass, whatever you got to do, but just throw in a pass in there to make it spicy, not make it your entire offense. I don't understand that at all.
No one understands this football team, man. No one understands it. It just goes back to our original argument. This is why no one wanted him back this year. At least us too, you know. It's why in our second or third episode of this podcast we were so absolutely not blindsided, but just in shock.
Dumbfounded.
Dumbfounded. That's a perfect word. We were dumbfounded that they were actually back this season. Like, it just makes no sense. And now here we sit after one game. It's like, damn.
You can absolutely fire a head coach after one game, and I think that's what the Lions should do.
So let's talk about this now. Lions are already 0-1, okay? Have you seen the next 3 games?
I remember being told this a couple days ago, but I'm fuzzy.
Okay, so it's not good, Troy. It's not good at all.
I remember saying, that's like 1-3 at best.
So next week is in Lambeau against the Packers.
Yep.
The Packers yesterday dropped 43 on the Vikings, in which Aaron Rodgers looks pissed off. 4 touchdown passes.
And here I was thinking the Vikings were going to be the team to beat.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Yeah, we all need to take an L with the Packers. We pissed Aaron Rodgers off. We made him angry.
Yep.
The front office made him angry by taking Jordan Love. So he's angry. He might drop 50 on us if we don't have Okudah, Trufant, or Coleman. So that's next week. The week after that is in Arizona. The Cardinals yesterday beat the Niners in San Francisco. Kyler Murray in one game.
Kyler Murray's dangerous, man.
Kyler Murray looked like the player who we all thought he was going to be. That second-year quarterback to take off like Patrick did, like Lamar did. Kyler looked awesome yesterday. He looked so good. In the air, on the ground, he was awesome. DeAndre Hopkins, 14 receptions, I think over 100 yards. Yeah, Arizona's looking good.
Arizona, I think, won that trade probably too with Houston.
God Almighty!
I don't think it was that much of a
as
contest,
much as we roast the Lions. Thank God we're not in Houston. Our baseball team's a cheater. The Rockets stink, and the Texans, God help them. And then they don't have a hockey team. Anyway, so that's week 3. Week 4 before our bye, at home against the Saints. Who, they're like one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year.
And they just mollywopped Tampa Bay. I mean,
oh, you want to talk about the Bucks? Did you see Brady and Gronk yesterday?
dude, it looks like my grandfather and his friend playing catch out front.
Oh my God, they look old. Anyway. Yeah, that's the Lions' next 3 games before the bye. And if they go into their bye 0-4, they're not going to fire Patricia, but man, it is going to be loud if they go into their bye 0-4.
They're gonna have those. I don't know if they're planning on doing like fans in the stands at all, but I guarantee if they do, they're just gonna be nothing but paper bags out there.
I think they're eventually going to have fans, but. Yeah.
Like I said, paper bags everywhere.
If they go into their bye 0-4, who needs a mask when you can have a paper bag? But yeah, if they go into their bye 0-4, it is going to get loud. And if this team is out of it by Thanksgiving, like out of it,
I'd say by Halloween. Screw Thanksgiving.
The Lions are so incompetent. I don't think they'd fire him by Halloween. I say Thanksgiving because that's kind of that's their Super Bowl, And if they're like last year, 3-7-1, I think if I remember correctly, going into Thanksgiving, they lost that game. They moved to 3-8-1. Like if they're somewhere around that range by Thanksgiving, I would be stunned if something doesn't happen. I mean, that's when you just have to do something.
Do you think the Lions will even have 3 wins by that time?
I was just making an example. I don't know how many wins we're going to have. I have to rethink my entire strategy after yesterday's game. My entire strategy.
Man, if you can't beat the Bears, I don't know who you can beat.
I mean, if you look at that schedule, honest to God, who are they going to beat? Like, they're not going to be favored their next 3 games.
Oh, no.
And you get people saying, like, oh, it's the NFL. The Lions will get 1 win. Are they? Like, honestly, are they?
I mean, they've made the same case for, like, the Dolphins last year when they started off, like, 0-6 or whatever. But it's like, this team...
I don't know.
This team is trying to win. The Dolphins were not trying to win last year.
I
This
don't...
team is trying to win, and they can't win.
I don't know, man. I don't know if they win any games within this next 3-4 week stretch. I don't know. So, like...
At least we'll be in the running for Trevor Lawrence.
Hey, Jacksonville won yesterday.
Yeah.
The tanking Jaguars won.
Well, the Patriots won too, didn't they?
They're not tanking for Trevor Lawrence.
No.
They're actually they're trying to win this year, man. It's Bill Belichick.
I mean, I don't know. If I was Bill Belichick, I would be. But
hey, man,
maybe that's why I'm not a coach. Maybe that's why I'm not the coach of the Patriots.
If you sign Cam Newton, he's motivated and hungry, just
Let him go.
F it. Let him go and see what happens.
Yep.
They're 1-0. God bless. We're 0-1. Talking about when Patricia's going to get fired. So here's my honest question for you, Troy. And then after this, we can probably move on to more positive things. Here's my question for you. Right here, right now, do you honestly think Patricia makes it through the season?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Not because he improves or this team...
You just don't think they
gains an
fire
edge.
him?
I just think this team is so incompetent.
Sheila.
Yep. Sheila, you better get on the phone with whoever you got to get on the phone with and
Who?
And talk to Patricia. She probably doesn't even have his number. That's how disconnected she is from the team.
I have to call Matt. I don't have his number.
Can you pull that out? I heard. It wasn't that bad, but it was funny.
Tony just created an electric field around his microphone.
Sounds like a generator.
The camera starts shaking. I broke the podcast episode. I'm sorry. There goes our lighting. Oh, no. Everything's breaking now.
Yeah, that's probably what Sheila's saying as she's watching the game. How about Bob Quinn in all of this? What's your
What
feelings?
about Bob Quinn? You think I want to talk about him?
Oh, what'd you think of his draft?
I liked it on paper, but damn, man. Like, Jeff Okuda's dead already. DeAndre Swift, again, solid game.
And
Dropped that game-winning touchdown.
And I will say, I was listening to the same, show you were today on 97.1. And he was saying on there, it was Lenny.
Who?
He was saying,
I thought you meant Bob Quinn. I'm like, what?
No, Lenny said something along the lines of he had inside scoop that if they did play Okuda,
Scoop.
Well, I mean, he's in touch with everything going on. I mean, he's popular enough that people will talk to him. What I'm just saying, whatever. Okay, I get it. But he said that Okuda would only probably play maybe 2 out of or 3 out of every, I don't know, every 3 series.
Well, he wasn't going to start.
Yeah, but they're saying like every 1 out of 3 series he would play, which is absolutely atrocious. For your third overall pick.
Patricia's a rocket scientist, man. We just got to trust him.
Yeah, you take a quarterback, you better believe if there's no other quarterback to start over him.
John's freaking out back
John's
there.
just watching some YouTube now.
Oh my God.
But yeah, the fact that he was only supposed to play like 1 out of every 3 or 4 series yesterday, if he was healthy, that's atrocious. I don't know how you do that. Like, at least make him like your dime corner.
Dude, it's Patricia, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing.
It's Patricia, man. So yeah, like I liked our draft class on paper, but yesterday Jeff Okudah's hurt. Swift dropped the game-winning touchdown. Julian Okora, I didn't see really much of him yesterday.
Maybe you did, and you just mistook him for his brother. Who knows?
No, I would not have mistaken him for Romeo because Romeo has been irrelevant since 2018. I mean, Romeo, I don't even know if he's still on the team. He is. I'm just making a joke.
Julian better thank his lucky stars that Romeo got him a job.
My God almighty. Jonah Jackson is our starting right guard. I guess that's fine. Quintez Cephas, he played a lot yesterday, which I was actually surprised by, and he looked good.
Caught a pretty big pass, didn't he?
He caught a few big passes. He was good yesterday. Jason Huntley's not on the team anymore. They cut him, and he's in Philly.
Oh, that was the...
Quandre.
Yeah, that was the Quandre pick.
We traded Quandre for nothing. He's a cancer. He's out of the locker room. Yeah.
Just release him. That's basically all you did.
They basically just released him. Yeah. They gave a 7th to Seattle for Huntley, and he's in Philly. John Pennicini, everyone told me that he was going to be the next big thing. Did he play yesterday? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't hear that name at all. Didn't see that name at all.
6th round D tackle from Utah. And then another D tackle, 7th round from Ohio State. Cornell or something like that. I think he's hurt.
Yeah, of course he would be. Everybody on this team's hurt.
Oh my God. Really quickly before we move on, because you mentioned Bob Quinn and now my mind is spinning. They refused to address the D-line this offseason, and I tweeted, like, okay, are we just not going to address the D-line? And people hated me for it. Hated me. I got threats, man. I got threats. I was like, we really didn't address the D-line this offseason. I'm kind of worried. And people are like, oh, you're just being negative to be negative. It's like, all right, well, 1 game in, how are we looking on the D-line?
Yeah, and those same people are probably all like, oh, this team sucks. I never liked this team. This team is awful. Where did this team come from? And it's like, you guys are the worst.
His words, not mine. The same problems have been consistent for the D-line over the past 3 years. Can't stop the run, can't get pressure to the quarterback. How? How do you see the 49ers last year go from worst to first after getting Nick Bosa and addressing that D-line?
Tony, this is the 49ers. You're watching it happen.
Oh, yay.
This is the 49ers. We have, it's the same team. We had the same makeup.
I take my frustration out on this bell.
The extra one.
You want me to beat the hell out of it?
No, just hit it. No, the hi-hat.
The other one. One
Which
in front
one?
of you.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. That was kind of funny.
I'm actually going to use this one now.
Hey,
Troy, make a joke.
Bob Quinn.
that's not bad. That's not bad.
What the hell was that?
I like that. Keep that there.
Hold on, I'm gonna make another joke.
Make another joke.
Detroit.
Make a joke, John.
This pod.
You said this pod.
This pod is a complete joke. Half the audience probably agrees.
They just turned off after I called them the worst.
Oh yeah, I'll show you who's the worst. Click.
Yeah, honestly, you got a more consistent viewer base than mine.
Hey, hold on. Let's not disrespect Chillin' with John and Jesse. I liked that.
So legendary, so short-lived.
1 season long.
It all went downhill after Nick stopped coming on.
Yeah, after Nick blew up in your face about boxing.
Dude, that was the second episode.
That's episode 2.
After intern Brendan had to step in.
Okay.
Brandon.
All right.
Okay, we're done there.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving on. Let's just move on from the Lions. We're off topic now. We're done here.
All
we
right,
don't need
finally.
we
My
don't need.
tumor can go away.
Oh, we need nothing else to mention here. They're a disgrace. See you next Sunday. Oh, we'll be back in the same situation next week on Aggressively Speaking. They're 0-2 now. Can they win next week against the Cardinals? Tune in to find out.
Just blew a 20-0 lead in the fourth quarter, and they lost 42-20.
Tumor's back.
All right. NBA playoffs.
I was actually going to talk about the Pistons.
No. And how will they won't they with Christian Wood the whole summer.
So I wanted to move on to the Pistons because people crap on the direction this team is in. But while we were away, they did make a new GM hire. They got Troy Weaver on the team.
They got me as their GM. Troy. Okay.
That was a terrible joke.
But yes, they got Troy Weaver from the OKC Thunder.
I just want to mention it really quickly because you never gave your thoughts on that, and you actually have a quite unique perspective on it.
Yeah.
As kind of a Pistons critic? I mean, it seems...
I really respect the fact that they're in a rebuilding mode. I don't know what you mean by critic. I guess I was a critic of the SVG era, probably more than most people were. And I'm always a critic of Goris. I'll never be a fan of him.
Let me rephrase. As someone who is like, you are so into this rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Troy Weaver, really quickly?
I was a little bit more cold on the option when his name first got floated around there, but that was mainly because I just didn't know much about him at the time. But I didn't really know much about any of the other guys that were in that running either. It's been too long to remember what the other guys were.
I don't know.
But yeah,
it's ages ago.
Yeah, but the more I was looking at his resume and watching these NBA playoffs, really warmed me up to him, and I am absolutely in love with the hire now, just like everybody else. I'm not gonna go as far as to say he's gonna bring us back 100%. You still gotta wait and see what he does. We haven't even hit the draft yet. Yeah, Tony.
No, Troy, your phone.
No.
Then I can hear it.
Is that better?
No. Just put it
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, watching what he's done to the Thunder the past off season, and how they've gotten to the playoffs to face the team that they traded all their assets away to. It's like you can't get any better than that when it comes to rebuilding. Literally one off-season rebuild.
And they easily could have beaten the Rockets too in the playoffs.
Yeah, it came down to a Game 7 that was just basically a toss-up. It was. If
Steven Adams cuts, they win the series.
Yeah, yeah, and that's.
John's had enough.
Yeah, John's pieced out. How are we gonna end this episode? He knows all the technology. He's by the computer.
Don't bring your phone. Don't pull your phone out because we don't have a headset right now to know if there's like a buzzing noise.
Okay.
Anywho.
Yeah, they were down to a Game 7. Toss up between them and the team they gave Russell Westbrook to. So I have a feeling that he didn't bring their entire staff with them. There's still guys in OKC that were there to help make those moves, but
he was a big part of that front office, obviously.
Yeah. So, I'm liking it. And when I first heard about that, I immediately went to his draft resume when they were winning. When they had lower draft picks, they're drafting guys like Cameron Payne Cameron Payne. Yeah. And I can't even name the only other guy that they had with a 11 or lower draft pick was Steven Adams in 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I was looking at. But I didn't realize, and I even looked at like them drafting Westbrook, KD, and Harden. I don't think he was a part of the KD draft. I don't know, but he did draft.
He helped. He was a big part in drafting Russ 4th
Yeah,
overall.
Russ. I don't know about Harden either. I think Harden. Yeah.
I just know about Russ, and that's all. That's all I need to know, honestly. Like, the thing that intrigues me with Troy Weaver is like kind of like what you're trying to allude to is like his eye for talent, if you will. Like, no one was really high when Russ was coming out of from UCLA, and he was like taken 4th overall.
But see, my big knock on that when I first heard about him though was that was a decade ago, and
yeah.
Obviously, evaluating talent has changed a little bit over time.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're looking more at, shooting point guards. Back then, it was slashing point guards and, like a Derrick Rose or a Russell Westbrook. But now it's all Steph Curry types. And you got to look for those like a LaMelo Ball in the draft coming up. So, I mean, the talent has shifted a little bit. So I'm curious to see what he does with a high draft pick this year. It's not as high as we'd like it to be. But.
So let's just get right into that now. So let's say you're Troy Weaver at 7th overall. LaMelo he was your guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So LaMelo was both of our guy, but yeah, he's not going to be there. I don't see him getting past 3 to Charlotte.
And my confidence in Cole Anthony has pretty much tanked. I didn't really.
I tried to tell you Cole Anthony wasn't really that. Wasn't that great at
I
UNC.
wasn't wanting him at like 2, like what we were expecting him. But,
Not at 7. I still don't even
7.
want him at 7. I wouldn't take him at 10.
No.
Screw that, man.
Yeah, he is.
Like, I'm not the biggest Cole Anthony fan. Like, I'm sure he's a...
My fandom for him was pretty much went wayside.
I just didn't like how he did at UNC. But anyway, so let's say you're Troy Weaver at number 7. It's way too early to talk about this. I mean, the draft's not going to be until the middle of November. But, like, right here, right now, very quickly, where are you kind of leaning towards? Are you going like a point guard... You wing player, like, where are you going? Are there any names that you kind of like as way too early picks?
I really only liked 2 guards in this draft. I'm only like in love with 2 guards, and they're the guys that are going to go 1 and 2, which is Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. Those were the 2 guys.
Unless Wiseman goes in the top 2, but yeah.
Wiseman? Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Top 3.
Yeah, I got it.
But so. I can, Killian Hayes.
I like Killian Hayes a lot.
I like him, yeah. He's probably my guy there. But like I said, I'm not in love with the guards outside of those 2.
That's fair.
So maybe in an Onyeka Okongwu.
Onyeka Okongwu, yeah, from
I like
USC. I like him a lot too. People say he's Bam, and if he's Bam, I'm in.
Yeah,
I like Bam. Bam Adebayo's sweet, and we'll talk about the Heat.
I am.
Ooh. We'll talk about the Heat in a second here. Yeah, I like Onyeka Okongwu. He's a force defensively, but he's not Andre Drummond.
No, he's a little bit better offensively.
I know there are some people that are kind of worried about taking like a big man, but like Onyeka Okongwu is not Andre Drummond.
Yeah,
James Wiseman is.
Yeah,
not Onyeka Okongwu.
And I say if you're gonna take a big man, it's the 7th pick. You don't have to try and draft the next big thing. I mean, obviously you'd love that, but I would say try and get a guy that'll be a nice piece to fit your next big thing with. And that's what I think Onyeka Okongwu is.
Yeah, like the Pistons have said before, it's best player available, and that's what it should be. Even though a point guard is probably the biggest need. I mean, unless your best player available is like Isaac Okoro or something stupid, then don't go best player available.
Yeah.
But that's not a shot at Isaac Okoro, by the way. He's not stupid.
I just don't want him on the Pistons.
Yeah. I'm not saying that he's like stupid. I'm just saying
Obi
like
Toppin.
The idea of taking him at 7 is not my favorite idea. Obi Toppin, oh God Almighty, help me if we draft him again. Nothing against Obi Toppin.
We've had too many Josh Smiths on this team. Too many.
I'm not the biggest fan of Obi Toppin's game. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to correlate to the NBA. I don't know.
Plus,
I never looked at him in Dayton and said, yeah, he's going to be like the next big thing.
Plus, hate it or love it, but I don't like guys that are like 4-year players out of college. I just don't like them.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like getting guys younger so you have more of a career with them.
More upside usually with
Yeah.
younger players. That's fair.
Yeah. But the opposite end of the spectrum is, younger guys get injured a lot more in their first year, like a Michael Porter Jr. kind of player. So
But when they start
We'll
to
see.
pop off like he is in the bubble, then
Exactly.
it's nice.
exactly.
So you're optimistic about the Pistons' future.
Yep.
good.
I am very optimistic. I have warmed up to Troy Weaver tenfold compared to what I was when they first hired him, and I'm excited to see where they go. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do about Christian Wood in the offseason. That's my big question mark. Is he seems to be flirting with too many teams here for me to be even 50% confident he's going to stay.
I'm on team re-sign him.
So am I.
He's just too good of a piece to try to let go. But
I don't think he's like a 20 million guy though.
oh god, no, I wouldn't pay him that much.
Like a 12.
13, 14. I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
I don't think you should be asking for any big deals.
My biggest worry with
"See
Christian
ya."
Wood is like a team like the Knicks is going to go. Here's like 21 mil.
Yeah. Like they paid Tim Hardaway Jr. that. I wouldn't be surprised if they paid Christian Wood that.
That scares me because if I'm Christian Wood, I'd take that.
Oh, yeah.
I would absolutely take that. Get to
Yeah.
play in New York. The Knicks suck, but you get all that money. Heck yeah. And if we lose Christian Wood,
Then we have no peace.
that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Our biggest piece would be
Luke or Sekou.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I ain't the biggest fan of Sekou. So
I
And-
know you're not.
I know I'm
In
not.
case you forgot. Uh-oh. John's getting FaceTimed. We knew something bad was going to happen.
Our first podcast in 6 months, and things are just not going smooth.
Of course, John has to leave. And everything's going to hell. So if we are still on air, let's move into the NBA bubble now that we are on the topic of basketball. So, at the time of recording this, the Eastern Conference Finals were set. It's going to be Heat and Celtics, which I didn't think it'd be Heat and Celtics.
I didn't think that at all.
My prediction was, like everyone else's, probably Bucks and Raptors.
I was thinking, okay. I thought the Celtics would make it, but I thought it would be the Bucks facing them.
But hey, I'm happy
I
that
was
it's Heat and
half right.
Celtics. I like the Heat. I like this Heat team, man.
I like them both.
They got a little bit of 04 Pistons in them, like that little underdog team.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the 04 Pistons had
No, they're
the
not
star caliber of a Jimmy
No,
Butler.
no,
but-
no. I'm saying like they got that underdog passion in them, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think that Heat team.
I think they're more along the lines of like a 2011 Mavericks.
I was just about to say that's a good example too. That's a really good example.
Yeah.
So that's the Eastern Conference Finals. The West, the Lakers are in. We knew they'd be in. The Nuggets, after being down 3-1 again, have forced a Game 7 with the Clippers.
I think the real story is the Clippers have yet again forced themselves into a Game 7. They've been to how many Game 7s
Man,
since Doc Rivers has been the coach? I think 3?
I really don't want to see the Clippers win the title, man.
No, they're not fun. They're not fun. It's fun to watch them lose.
Did you see your FaceTime call?
I think he's in it right now.
You got a FaceTime call.
Yeah, you're.
And now look at the computer. I don't even know if we're online right now.
That wouldn't interrupt the stream of it.
Are we still good? Oh, we're still good.
Good.
That's good to know.
Good shit.
Just making sure.
Yeah,
we kept going.
Yeah, we did. We didn't just sit here
My-
waiting
my-
for him to come downstairs.
My exact words were, "Well, I hope we're still on air, but let's keep going." So Troy, what are your biggest takeaways from this NBA bubble so far, whether it's on the court or off the court?
I'm real scared about Giannis leaving the Bucks.
He ain't leaving the Bucks.
I think he will. I think he will.
He's not
I don't
leaving,
know.
man.
There's
He's too loyal.
There's
He's not-
melodramatic things coming out about him like unfollowing all his teammates on Twitter and
That's the media
and stuff
spinning.
like that.
Eh.
I know, but still, he even said it himself at the beginning of this year or the end of last year, saying like, if they're not in a position to contend, he might leave.
Giannis said that?
Yeah, he said
I
that.
don't
in an
remember
interview.
that.
Yeah,
I don't remember that, but okay.
Whichever it was such a big thing that he said that, because it's like, most stars always say like, oh, I'm not worried about next year, or I'm not going to talk about it, or wherever I go is my decision. But he was just like straightforward. He's like, oh yeah, if we're not good by next year, I'm gone.
I don't remember him saying that. Where did you hear that from?
Maybe where did I hear that from? I heard it when it happened.
I don't remember that. Maybe I'm stupid, but I don't remember that at all. But anyway,
I'm probably paraphrasing a little
there
bit.
was a report
but
that came out, I think today, that ownership for Milwaukee met with Giannis, and they're going to try to run it back next year.
Oh, I mean, he's got no choice. He's still on contract until the end of next year, but after next year is what I'm worried about.
Yeah, after next year, maybe if they don't win, he'll bounce.
Yeah,
But,
but
that was still embarrassing.
That
for
was
them,
a big takeaway for. Yeah, they have nothing outside of him. They need something else besides Giannis there.
Chris Middleton, God bless him, former Piston. He ain't a second superstar.
No, he'll make some good shots for you, but he is no second option.
Some people have mentioned this before on Twitter as kind of a fun little idea. Chris Paul makes a lot of sense for that team. The Thunder are probably going to trade him. He makes sense for the Bucks. That is your second superstar.
Yeah.
Chris
Do you
Paul.
think they get Middleton back or something? That's a huge contract they'd have to take on. I feel like Middleton's the only kind of contract you could trade away for a Chris Paul.
I don't know. Maybe.
Which, I mean, if the Thunder want Middleton, I mean, that's not a bad option to put alongside.
You would have to trade
Shea.
Bledsoe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how you make it
Bledsoe and
work.
Middleton to team up with Shea.
I don't know how you'd make it work, but Chris Paul would make sense for that team.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was embarrassing for the Bucks. 2 straight years as the 1 seed. I think 2 straight years is the best record in the NBA too, and out in the 3rd round last year, Eastern Conference Finals. This year, they even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost to the Heat in the gentleman's sweep.
How do you? I mean, like you said, the Heat have a big underdog quality to them.
The Heat are a really good story.
But man, how do you lose? Or how do you lose 4-1 to the Heat if you're Giannis?
I think that's why people want Budenholzer fired. I mean, he did with the Hawks.
I feel like that's just putting duct tape over a huge crack in the wall. I don't know.
I mean, that got John going.
That tickled John's fancy there.
Oh, I love analogies.
I mean, Budenholzer with the Hawks, great in the regular season, fold in the playoffs, and now 2 straight years of the Bucks. They're not going anywhere in the playoffs.
See, if you really want to talk about a coach that I think is way overrated, that's Doc Rivers.
I mean, if they lose in 7 to the Nuggets, they're not going to fire Doc, but
They should.
they're not.
They should.
No, they're not. But
They should.
if that Clippers team doesn't make it to the Western Conference Finals to see our Lakers-Clippers matchup, LA's going to roast them. LA is going to roast them. They signed Kawhi. They traded for Paul George.
I don't know what Skip Bayless is going to say about that.
He's going to be a big Nuggets fan.
Skip Bayless has completely turned the volume up to 11. I don't know how he can be on air and have these takes anymore.
Remember when he used to hate Kawhi?
Yeah. Now it's like just because he's the anti-LeBron, it's, Kawhi can do no wrong.
I only watch Undisputed for Shannon Sharp because he's funny. But Skip just, oh my God, he says so much BS. It's unbelievable, all the BS that he spews.
It's way too predictable what he's saying now.
What's going on back there?
It just kind of sucks that I set this up where I have to crawl.
Oh, you gotta get up again?
Yeah, if I ever gotta get food or something.
One of these days, John will bump into the camera. It's gonna flop over.
Everything gets unplugged. No sound. Stop recording.
Even the lights up here are gone.
Oh, this is dark.
That lamp falls over.
Yeah.
This picture falls.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Just domino effect all the way around the room.
Smell.
Oh. Troy Stench. So yeah.
But my other takeaway, I mean, besides Giannis leaving and Doc Rivers should be fired.
He's not going to get fired.
That's if they lose, at least. Is that I don't know. I'm kind of on the Damian Lillard should leave train. I don't think he should stay in Portland any longer.
I think they should run it back next year. They had a lot of injuries this year.
Everybody was healthy.
That's a team that can use the injury excuse.
But they had most of their guys, at least everybody that needed to be healthy was.
But then when they got to the
Nurkic and
when they got to the
Hassan
playoffs,
Whiteside.
they lost Zach Collins again. That didn't help them at all.
no,
and then
but I would say
Dame
the trade off Nurkic for Zach Collins. I feel like that team's better.
I don't think Dame should leave. I think they should try to run it back for another year, then see where they go next year. Like Portland, they did a good job in the bubble. They did a good job. You know, they would not have made the playoffs if the season didn't get shut down. But they went to the bubble. Dame said, "I'm here to make the playoffs." They did just that.
Yep.
They were a lot of fun to watch in the playoffs. So
You want to talk about a lot of fun to watch? How about that Jazz Nuggets series?
Jamal Adams versus Donovan Mitchell, that was sweet.
When
They were dropping 50 pieces against each other. That was
Oh.
sweet.
That was beautiful basketball to watch. That was beautiful.
What's your favorite game of the bubble so far? That's a thinker, but what is your favorite game? I have to even think about that.
Even though it was a low scoring, I'd say Jazz Nuggets Game 7.
Really? I have to
It
think.
was such, like, there was so much on the line for that game after they had been dropping 50 on each other. That going into that game, you knew it was going to be just an absolute dogfight to the finish. And it was.
What?
Dogfight. Like, I'm with Brendan. He's listening, but he doesn't like sports either, so he's just laughing.
Intern Brendan.
Yeah.
Hi, Brendan.
So what's going on? Keep going.
My favorite game in the bubble.
Well, hold on. Before we get to your favorite game in the bubble, what are your 3 takeaways?
My first takeaway has to do with the whole COVID and the actual bubble itself. It's worked. It's really, really worked. No,
You
no.
guys cracking up over there is way too distracting.
Because we were laughing about this the other day. How we don't like sports.
There goes John.
Yep, there goes John peacing out. All right.
Something happens, we are screwed. So yeah, my first takeaway is the bubble. It's really, really worked. No positive tests for a long time.
Yeah, probably since like what was it, like July 30th or something like that, right before
Since
the
like it
season
first
started.
started, yeah. I mean, it's really, really worked. It's been incredible how much it's worked in the bubble. I just thought about my favorite game, by the way.
We'll get to that.
I don't want to forget about it though.
Okay, tell me your favorite
Really
game.
quickly, favorite game in the bubble was the Luka game winner against the Clippers.
Oh, I forgot
That
about
was
that game.
so good.
that
I think he
was
dropped.
the best. That was the best 30 seconds of the playoffs.
No, that was a
I don't
good.
know
That was a legitimate good game though, with a great
yeah,
ending.
to go into OT. Wasn't that double OT?
I think it was just one OT.
Oh,
Maybe
which
it might
game
have been
was the
two.
double OT.
I have no idea. It was OT and nailed a game winner over
it
the
was
Clippers.
Celtics Raptors was the one that went into double OT.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that game went into OT though. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
did.
that's my favorite game in the bubble. That was sweet.
that was a great game.
Anywho,
I don't know. I was just way too invested in that Jazz Nuggets series.
that was a good series. So yeah, takeaway 1, the bubble has worked, and it should be an example for baseball because they're about to start their bubble, and football if they do a postseason bubble as well. The NBA,
I feel like football's way too big to do a bubble.
they're talking about it. There's been reports that they're talking about it, which so far the NFL is doing good. You know, they haven't had many positive tests since, the beginning. The NHL has done a great job with their hub cities
Yeah.
in Edmonton and Toronto. And then baseball. Baseball is a complete disaster. But they've been
Well,
better.
It was. Yeah, it's
It
been
was. They've been better, but no, baseball needs to go
better. I'm just shocked that Miami's still playing games.
baseball needs to go inside the postseason bubble. Like what they're going to do with their two postseason hubs, if you will, in Arlington, Texas, and I think LA. It's really smart. It's
Yeah.
really, really smart because if you somehow, God forbid, have an outbreak in the playoffs and like, let's say the best team in baseball, who I think are the Dodgers, let's say they can't play. Tell me you're just going
Or
to
at
kick them
least
out?
like 3 out of their 5 best players or something.
Yeah, like you just can't do that. So be safe, go in the bubble. The NBA and the NHL have shown you that it works if you do it properly. So the NBA, kudos to Adam Silver because it's
Tip
worked.
the cap.
Yeah, very, very good job. And the basketball has been great too. That's my second takeaway. People were saying that they were worried about the bubble because it was going to feel like and I quote, glorified AAU tournament. It was going to look like the Summer League and it just wouldn't be a good product. And I always said that I disagreed with that take because it's going to be playoff basketball. I mean, I've been waiting as a basketball fan for this specific postseason since last July. Like, we knew how good this postseason was going to be because there's no Warriors. There's no one team that you're like, they are going to win, even though the Lakers are great. And we thought the Bucks were going to be great and the Clippers.
And it goes to show you that, having no home court advantage even makes it more so.
It's just who's the better team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's another good point.
Yeah. And, take it as an example. Just a week ago, people were talking about can the Rockets beat the Lakers. I mean, obviously, the Rockets got, their ass handed to them. But the fact that you could even have that conversation goes to show you, and with the Lakers being the 1 seed, that this playoffs really was up in the air. You didn't know what was going to happen.
That's why
With the Nuggets facing the Clippers as well and being down to a Game 7. This,
Yeah.
Anything can happen in this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most random version of a sport where the outcome's almost always a given.
Right.
It's been the best playoffs I've seen.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I said I think these players are actually going to be really good because no home court and even no fans. Like, no fans was weird at first, sure, but I've gotten used to it. Like, obviously, we want to see the fans back. I want to be back inside LCA.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine that Luka game winner in Dallas?
Even LA. Jeez.
Yeah.
But no, the product's been really freaking good. I mean, the basketball has been so fun to watch, especially after not having sports for as long as we did. Like, it was just so good to be able to sit down and for like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, we would watch basketball all day. Mm-hmm. From 1 to midnight, it was just basketball, basketball, basketball. And it was great. The bubbles worked. The product has been good. And takeaway number 3, year 17 for LeBron.
Even the regular season. Oh, sorry about that. But even the regular season was great. Like you had the Phoenix Suns, like going on that.
I'm still hurt for them, man.
Whatever.
That's like the Lions, man.
Yeah.
They went 8-0 in the bubble and they didn't get the playoffs. That sucks.
Yeah, but you had storylines that were great even before the playoffs started, and they were playing great basketball. So, I mean, this whole thing has been absolutely fantastic from the get-go.
Absolutely. Like I said, bubbles worked, great basketball, and LeBron year 17 is still the best player on the planet. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I'm a LeBron slap, so obviously people are going to be like, oh, there goes Tony again. But, like, he's dominated. He has been so good in the bubble. And the Lakers, too. Like, people were worried when they kind of were a little... John, I don't know. People were kind of worried about the Lakers because they were kind of not
meandering.
Yeah, I was going to say backing into the playoffs, but they were the 1 seed. They didn't really back in. So they were like kind of...
And they went like 3-5 in the regular season leading up to it.
Yeah, they weren't great. They didn't look good in the seeding games. The people were like, oh boy, this doesn't look good. Like, they thought they were probably going to be the Bucks.
Yeah.
But no, once the playoffs came, playoff LeBron, just another notch, man. I mean, besides game 1 in both of their series so far, the Lakers, they haven't lost. They have not lost outside of both game 1s in their series. That Lakers team, even without one of their best defenders in Avery Bradley, they are just so good and so fun to watch. Like, the Lakers, they're the Yankees of the NBA. You know, they are probably... They're up there with the Celtics, obviously, as like the storied franchises, but they are kind of like probably the team, you know?
They're the franchise.
Yeah,
I mean, the Celtics have more championships, but most of that came before the 80s, so.
Yeah. The Lakers are the team, and you usually root against them, but this year, more people are rooting for them, obviously. And they've been great. They've been so fun to watch. I want to see them win the title so bad. I want to see them win the title so bad, man. But
see, I'm rooting for an Eastern team this year. Oh my god.
Give me...
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. All hell is broken loose. Give me a Heat Lakers NBA Finals. Ooh. That make you spew?
A little bit came out there.
Even Celtics Lakers would be
Celtics Lakers is what I'm thinking.
Ooh.
I would love Celtics Lakers.
In the bubble.
Bring back that old rivalry. There you
New
go.
faces
Jason
too.
Tatum versus LeBron.
That would be sick. That would be really, really nice. But yeah, those are my 3 takeaways from the bubble. The playoffs have been fantastic. And
What's your opinion on the way Anthony Davis has been playing? Because I know
mostly good.
Yeah, I know
he's
people
obviously
were calling him out for being like a little too hesitant to take over, and especially against the Rockets where there's no big man to face him up.
Yeah, he's had a few bad games, sure, but he's still someone who goes out there and he'll give you an easy over close to 30 points and 10 rebounds. I mean, he's been what the Lakers wanted him to. LeBron's second star. And again, Lakers are good, man. They're fun to watch. They are really, really fun to watch. So, we're running short on time here. It's almost 9:30 and you got to leave for work soon. So to quickly close out this episode, let's move into baseball, actually, believe it or not.
Uh-oh.
Because we actually have a little optimistic Tigers stuff to talk about.
There was some pretty fun baseball being played here in Detroit for a good month, I'd say.
More than a month, up until this weekend.
Well, I mean, if you take away like their losing streaks, then it was about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when we came into the 60-game season for the Tigers, obviously the expectations were rock bottom. No one expected this team to do anything this year. We thought maybe they could have like a fun week or two, but we mostly expected them to probably win 15 games.
Yeah.
We thought this would be a very, very bad team. But really until September, this team was playing, dare I say good? Like, they were actually fun to watch in July and August.
Yeah, they were. I
Did you watch?
I watched a little bit.
Oh, even Troy watched them.
They even had me watching a little bit of the games.
I mean, it's just, it amazes me how you went from that 2019 team to this.
Like, just absolutely unwatchable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. They were unwatchable last year. And then this year, it's like people were literally tuning in to watch them.
Yeah, especially like the Casey Mize debut. That was like must-see baseball.
I think that was FSD's like 3rd highest Tiger game, I think, which is nuts to think about.
Yeah. I mean, that was like, where you had those must-see JV games back in the day. That was almost on par with that.
That was must-see TV. And that brings me into one of my points for why the Tigers have been so fun this year. The kids are playing.
Yeah.
We said before the 60-game season started that it's a 60-game season. F it. Bring the kids up. Service time isn't a thing this year after the first week. Call them up. There's no minor league season. It's better to have them here than doing Jack Bleep in Toledo. have them play, get some big league experience to see what happens. And the kids are up here. Casey, Tarek Skubal, Isak Paredes, Willie Castro, Sergio Alcantara,
That's
and the list goes on and on.
yeah,
Like there's
that's like a quarter of the team right there.
there
It's
are
made up of all rookies.
there are so many kids up right now, and it's fun to watch because even if Casey or Tarek Skubal aren't pitching, you get to watch Willie Castro, you get to watch Isak. I mean, there's something to watch with this Tigers team, and it's been fun. It's been really fun.
Yeah, and the pieces that they added in the offseason have,
Worked.
generally worked. Yeah.
Worked. CJ Cron was working before he unfortunately died.
Yeah, Jonathan Scope.
Jonathan Scope has been really good for this team. Austin Romine's been decent.
Yeah.
I mean,
Things were working.
things were working, man. Their bullpen was doing good too. They had quietly a very nice bullpen.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, this team's still rebuilding, so they're falling off. So I
think
it
we
wasn't
forgot
meant to
about
be.
that.
Yeah, we forgot about that for a while.
We forgot
This
about
team
that
is
for a while.
rebuilding
Yeah.
still.
Like, I still believed that they should have sold it. Let me rephrase that. I said that wrong. I still believe that they should have stood pat at the deadline and not sold. That's what I was trying to say.
Last year,
No, this year. This year.
I don't think they really did sell too much.
They didn't. They stood pat.
Got rid of.
They traded Cam Maben,
Yeah.
but he wasn't doing anything. They basically stood pat at the deadline.
Yeah. You made it sound like they didn't. I was like, I thought they did.
No, I wanted them to stand pat, and they did. And it's just kind of bad luck because after that, they fell off a cliff, They look like the rebuilding team that we thought they would now, which...
I mean, no shocker at the end of the day.
Yeah. Again, we forgot that they're rebuilding. It was fun to be talking about a possible playoff chase, though. It was really, really fun.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's still 14 games left as of earlier.
They're not making the playoffs.
What are they? 5 games back of the playoffs at the moment?
4 or 5,
Yeah.
yeah. They're 6 games under. Yeah, their season's over after that sweep to the White Sox, but it was a fun ride, man. It was a really, really fun season. In a year where we weren't expecting much, they gave us something to watch, and it was fun.
Now lose out so you can get a high draft pick.
Well, they might not have to lose out. There's like a bunch of rumors flying around that what Manfred's going to do is combine this year's record with last year's record. And if that's the case, the Tigers are going to get number 1 pick by default because they were so bad last year.
How many games below the next team were they last year?
A lot.
I don't know that.
I think a lot.
By like 20 games or something?
We had the number 1 pick clinch with like 3 weeks to go in the season. Yeah, it was bad. But if they do that and they combine the records, hell yeah, Tigers get the number 1 pick. Could you imagine that?
That'd be so nice.
Could you imagine that? Having the season that the Tigers did this year and we get the number 1 pick. Oh, that would be juicy. You had Kumar Rocker from Vandy, who's like, people are saying that he's like the next great pitcher.
Really?
People like Kumar Rocker, man.
Really?
People really like Kumar Rocker.
And as high as people were about Torkelson, getting 2 guys that are like that in a row.
We got to mention him next. So, like, yeah, the Tigers have obviously fallen off, but this year has still been fun. We've seen the kids play and give us a little bit of glimpse of a bright future that the Tigers have. Torkelson's part of that bright future, man. I love some Torque. You have the nickname ready?
Power Torque. That's like a car thing.
Power Torque?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'll live with it. But
oh no, I'm thinking of Powertrain. Never mind. Scrap it. I'll come up with something.
He's still working
week.
on a nickname for Torque.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean this organization has a bright future. Hopefully they don't stumble on themselves and screw up the next managerial hire, because I hope Gardy just retires this offseason. Like,
really?
Yeah, I'm tired of Gardy.
Why are you tired of Gardy?
I'm tired of Gardy,
You
man.
don't like Santa Claus?
Nah, he's a great guy. Like, he's a good rebuilding manager, but now it's to a point where it's like,
Oh, come on. He did really good with the Twins when they were good. When they had Joe Mauer and
that was how many years ago? Like, Gardy, it's just, this year just shows you that, like, he's not the manager you want to try to win. Like, the Tigers hopefully will be trying to win soon, and Gardy ain't it. Like, some of the decisions he's made this year, whether it be, taking Casey Mize out too early, whether it be giving this guy a day off after he hit a home run yesterday, it just,
I don't know. I mean, we always
his contract
we always micromanage the managers that are here. Like, remember what we did to Jim Leland? Poor Jim Leland.
that's a little different. I mean, let's be real here.
We were nitpicking the hell out of him. Oh, you took him out like two batters too early, or you shouldn't have started Prince Fielder the 167 games in a row.
Jim Leland took us to World Series, though. I mean, there's a difference there. But Gardy was here to rebuild, and he was good for us, even though we were obviously terrible. But his contract is up at the end of the year. Don Kelly's going to be out there. Just bring him home. Let's go. Bring him home. DK, baby.
I don't know if I'd want a rookie manager coming in here with a bunch of young talent, though.
I mean, you could get AJ Hinch.
You could.
Am I talking up your alley now?
There you go. I mean, do you think you'd
barking
wanna
up
come
your
in?
barking up your tree now?
Do you think you'd want it? It is funny that we went into the offseason thinking the Tigers have no talent whatsoever in their minor league system.
And now they do.
And now they do. All of a sudden,
Torque, Riley Green. We didn't even mention Riley Green as another bright
yeah.
prospect. And some of the players on this year's team, they've really kind of shown their potential. Willie Castro's balling this year. He has been so good. Isak has fallen off a cliff, I'm not going to lie, but he started off hot. I still like him a lot, I'm not going to lie. Hopefully when we get a real hitting coach.
And here's the real question. Why the hell was Christian Stewart up here so long?
Well, they sent him down a while ago. So
I know, but he was up here he overstayed his welcome.
Former first-round pick, it's a long leash, but yeah, they got to a point where they're like, get out of here. Let's bring up Daz Cameron, okay? Shoo. You got Victor Reyes, who came out of nowhere. Victor Reyes used to be a meme on Tigers Twitter. Okay? He used to be a meme, and now he's like one of our best hitters. Jamer Candelario, star of the season, 0 of 17, I think. Like, he was bad offensively.
Yeah, he was
bad.
He was the guy that you labeled as your
Easy
veteran on the rebuilding team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were starting to question whether or not Candy would even be part of this team's future.
Yeah.
And the CJ Cron injury happened. He moved to first base, which we thought would hurt him. He's been really good after moving to first base. He's been struggling a little bit defensively, but he's getting there.
So
but
what would be... Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say, with the bat, that's where Candy's really shined. Candy was named the AL Player of the Week last week.
There you go.
How about that? Candy's been really good, man.
So here's my question. CJ Cron comes back in the future, obviously. It ain't tomorrow. What do you do? You put him at DH? You put Candy at DH? Or move Candy back to third?
In an ideal world, here's what I would do with the Tigers. I'd move Candy back to third, sign CJ Cron for a year.
Okay.
That's what I'd do.
You would take that chance with Candy back at third, even though he's balling out at first.
Candy's a better defensive player at third than first.
Oh, okay.
That's why no one wanted him to move to first, because he was so good defensively at third. And you need a good defender at third.
Yeah.
So that would be my ideal situation. What does Alavila do? It's Alavila, man.
You're still not confident in Alavila despite having the talent around us?
Hell no. Absolutely not. Alavila is a terrible general manager. Terrible.
But he took Torque.
He's made some good moves, obviously. But
I think there were obvious good moves, though. I feel like he's never really played 4D chess once since being GM.
I'll give Al this. He's been good in the draft, in my opinion. Torque.
Like I said, it's been by default. Our team's been too bad
by
to
default.
Really mess up.
By default, but you still got to make those picks, okay?
Yeah.
Like, he could have taken Joey Bart in 2018. He could have taken Austin Martin over Torque. He made the right picks. He took Riley Green at 5th overall in 2019. Like, he's been a good drafter. He can't trade.
No.
The Justin Verlander trade is a complete disaster.
He's gonna need to bring in some like staff to help him out when it comes time to like trade for some veteran pieces for like a World Series team.
He's such a bad trader.
Because when it comes time when this team starts to win, you're gonna need to make a couple trades to like finish a roster, and I have no confidence that he can do that.
I don't have no confidence he can finish his rebuild, but cross my fingers that he can, because he's traded some big-time players away. JV, JD, Nicholas Castellanos, Shane Green. We really haven't gotten much for either of them.
No, but the other teams have. Outside of like
Obviously.
Arizona with JD.
Well,
That was the only one that it's kind of a wash.
JD was the piece that took them to the wild card that year. But yeah. But
Like, that was the only trade where it's like, well, nobody won.
yeah, because he left in free agency. But we got Joel Lugo back, so yay. He got DFA'd. Our big piece for JV is Franklin Perez, who can't
Get
stay
out of his own
healthy.
way.
He can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
The big piece for Nicholas Castellanos, do you want to take a guess who it was? Alex Lang and Paul Richan. He traded Justin Upton in 2017 for Grayson Long, who retired from baseball 2 years ago. Like, he can't trade, man.
He did get Candy.
The one trade that he did good on was his son and Justin Wilson to the Cubs for Candy and Isak. That was a good trade.
That's because he actually realized the value of his own son.
That's the only good trade that he made, involving his son, believe it or not. But yeah, I have my doubts with Al. I have my doubts with this organization, of course. I have my doubts with Chris Illich. I still don't know if he's like going to be a good owner.
You think he's going to put money forward to make a team
They
successful?
They said they're going to spend money soon, so we'll see how they spend it. I don't know if I trust Al with making free agency moves. Remember the last time he spent money in free agency? He gave Jordan Zimmerman a 5-year, $110 million contract.
Let's be careful here. The last time he spent money in free agency, we got Scope and CJ.
I'm talking big money.
Yeah.
Big money. He signed Jordan Zimmerman.
I mean, he played okay for Washington.
Okay, Al. Are you Al's burner?
I mean,
Listen, he was good
he
with the
deserved like
Nationals.
$5 million.
My God almighty. Jordan Zimmerman's contract is going to be up after this year. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I know Chris Illich is itching to get rid of that little tiny dime in his pocket that he just doesn't want anymore.
They'll re-sign him in the offseason.
$5 million.
Oh, God help me if they re-sign him. They're not going to. But with that, I think that's a good way to wrap this episode.
Yeah. Hopefully next week we don't come in with another Stephen A. meme. I'm looking
We'll
at
see.
you, Patricia.
Speaking of the Lions, as we embark out into the COVID world, I got my Lions mask.
I feel like
I brought this just for the show.
you're definitely not going to catch anything with that on. You get what I'm saying?
Good Lord. Good Lord. All right, Troy. Socially, we need to wrap this. We need to wrap this right now.
All right.
Elbow bump. There we go. If we do a fist bump, the CDC will come after us.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Aggressively Speaking podcast. My name is Tony Dabrowski.
I'm Troy Frank.
Thank you for watching. We will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
John needs to get back down here.
John, end the damn thing.